While I'm waiting for the leaves to dry, I've just decided to colorise the bricks a little bit more with some Lindy's Stamp Gang. It's Rudolph Nose Red, and I'm just doing it with a paintbrush, just giving it a slight sort of colour wash over the top, just to give the bricks a little bit of colour, and to just add a little bit more colour into the canvas, because at the moment I think it's all a bit too grey. But as this is soaking in, it's darkening, so it's not too bright, but it'll also have a nice little sheen to it, and where some of the bricks are darker, it takes on a darker hue as well. So I'm quite pleased with that effect. You don't have to do it perfectly, because you want a bit of the grey to show through as well as the texture. Yep, I like that. Okay, I've die cut some Tim Holtz bird cages. I've done it in the foam, black foam stuff that comes on the bottom of pizzas when you buy them. It's quite good with this sort of thing. Makes them very flexible. Throwing them around. What I've done with these two is I've cut some of the bars out to make the cage wider, so I'm going to do the same with these, and I cut the middle one out and then miss one and then cut the next one out. Try and do it as neat as possible so it looks like it was meant to be that way, and not just that you cut them off and then cut the corresponding ones off on the bottom. And I've cut 3 of these. Okay, I've got all my pieces now. I've got 3 birds and the wings. I don't want any legs on the birds, so I'm going to cut those off. And now I'm going to paint everything with black gesso, and you need to make sure you've got the birds around the right way that you want them to be, and the cages. and I want to sort of do it thickish in a stippling sort of way. Right, the ivy leaves are dry enough now that I can paint them. I've dug out all my green sprays. I've got this Cosmic Shimmer Meadow Lush, Tattered Angels Olive Vine, Lindy's Stamp Gang Freaky Franken Lime, and I've got Lindy Stamp Gang Sassafrage Olive Copper. So I'm going to start with the lightest one, which is the Freaky Franken Lime, and I'm going to be doing it, just painting it on with the small brush, and I want a variety of leaves, so I'll sort of be just doing a few here and there, and let's see how we go. Okay, the leaves are done now. I went over just blobbing on bits of the other colour, all the other colours of sprays that I told you, and then at the very end I just went over again with some colour wash in bottle green, just to give it that little bit of variation in the leaves, because I didn't have a dark green colour in the Lindy's or any other. I'm quite pleased with how they've come out. Just trying to get it closer to the camera so you can see. It just sort of creates a more realistic look to the leaves, as you would have with different light shining on it. So I'm pleased with that. Now I'll just leave it again to dry. Okay, the gesso is drying on the cages, and I'm going to give them a bit of a metallic look. I'm going to use this Precious Metals leafing finish. It's a bit like rub and buff, but it's a bit more liquid and it's water based, so if you do make a mistake you can get some of it off. It's in the copper shade, I'm using copper because there's some coppery tones from the glimmer sprays that I used in the ivy leaves, so it's just to sort of keep it a bit uniform. I'm going to use my finger for this, try and use up a bit of this. I'm just putting a little bit on my finger and then gently rubbing it over. Don't want too much on there, and I want some of the black to show through. I found some little images of Victorian children on the internet, and I printed them out, and then I had some chipboard or cardboard butterflies, which I cut in half and then glued the wings onto the back of the little children. I also used some Neo 2 soluble crayons just to give them a little bit of colour in their cheeks. I coloured the yellow boy's coat, and this girl, I coloured her coat blue and the sleeves of this girl in pink, just to lighten them up a little bit. And I'm now going to glue those on the inside of the cages. The measurements I printed out were 8.5 centimetres from the top of the head to the toe, so that the faces will be looking out of the top of the cages, like this when they're placed inside. Okay, so I'm going to do that now and I'll come back. And while I'm waiting for those to dry, I've decided to put some of these little daisies climbing up along my ivy. So I've put them where I want them to be, and now I'm going to glue them on. Oh, these flipping glue strings get on my nerves. The other thing, I've made some chipboard butterflies, embossed them with two colours, a dark purple one, which is Moonlight Obsidian, I think it's called, and then I sprinkled gold embossing powder in the middle and just heated it again, so it's given it sort of a bit of definition. And then I used an embossing pen and just went over the middle and then sprinkled some more of the darker purple again. I wanted something sort of not too bright